Da, 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 da. Would you like to learn my exact 100 to 200x altcoin strategy? How in this bear market do I plan to make mega life-changing money? And I am talking 9-figure money utilizing this bear market in order to accumulate cryptocurrencies likely to deliver 100 to 200x on its investment. And how you can too. I'm going to be showing you the exact prices and what assets I am looking to buy into and exactly what amount of money am I putting into each of these. I've already brought you part 1, which was my last video, but I'm going to now be bringing you part 2, which actually demonstrates the more risky cryptocurrencies, the low to micro cap cryptocurrencies that could deliver insane gains. So if you're excited to learn more, make sure that you follow me on Twitch. I am looking to be the #1 Twitch streamer about cryptocurrency. And I want you to join me. If you haven't already, make sure that you follow me on Twitch or subscribe. The difference between the two is by following me on Twitch, you get to see whenever I go live. By subscribing to me on Twitch, you get to avoid seeing annoying adverts. So make sure that you follow on Twitch. Can you see it? Yes, you can. And you can see that I'm live. So make sure that you do so, because my name is the Suppoman, your superhero of cryptocurrency and 100x gems. And what I have found is that investing during a bear market is the absolute 100% most effective and violent way to make money in cryptocurrency. One of the easiest ways to make money in cryptocurrency. So, if you are fully aware of who I am, then you will know that crypto to me is a cash multiplication printer. That means that you are able to put a relatively small amount of money into this money printer and it just churn out hundred thousands. It basically churns out 100x on what you've invested. So that is what crypto to me is. I've been able to buy my penthouse, my car, all of my luxury possessions with very little money because I put it into my crypto multiplication cash printer and it just prints me loads of money out of thin air. A little bit like what the Fed do, essentially. Now, before I go any further, let me just put the notifications out. A, on YouTube, and B, on Twitter, so everybody knows that I am live. And anyway, so what I have done in the past, if you have been following me, is you will have seen all sorts of proof of work that I have done, essentially where I have put my money into various assets that have gone on to do exceedingly well. So just to give you an example, this was a video that I brought out on June the 13th, 2019, when we were in the midst of a bear market. And this video was all about 5 altcoins that can get you 1 Bitcoin for 1,000. So essentially, if you put 1,000 into one of these assets, it's going to deliver multipliers, mega multipliers on that 1,000, that you could just buy a Bitcoin, which at this time was $10,000. Now, you will see back here that ADA was 9 cents. It then went on to go to $3, so a 30x from there. LTA, probably the worst performer. It did go to about $1, so it did, what's that, a 5x from here. Then we got Phantom. Phantom went on to exceed $3, so that is a 100x from here. And Matic, as you can see, this went to $2, so a 100x from here. So I have had more wins than losses, hence why I have been very successful in cryptocurrency, why I remain to be one of the OGs in cryptocurrency that still produces videos, because I am still in the game. And if you have been watching me since, well, this one says 4 years ago. This was May the 4th, 2018. May the 4th be with you. And this was the first reveal of Solana. Nobody had spoken about Solana at this point. So this was me putting Solana on the map. I've subsequently put Solana on the map 2 times more after this when it came out. It didn't come out until 2020. But you can see I've got a very good eye for fundamentally strong cryptocurrencies early. And that is my raison d'etre, is to identify these cryptocurrencies so you can get in them. I did it before with a variety of cryptocurrencies like Binance, Phantom, Matic, Linear, ADA, many others, so many others, Ethos. But who cares about the past? It's the future that we're looking towards. So my job is to find the best projects of the future. So that is what this video is about. This is going to be showing you what assets am I looking to buy and why, how much do I plan to make, and how this can equal 9 figures for me, should this pay off. So let me just firstly chat to you guys. Let me just make sure you're all in the house, etc. Now I've done my big self-aggrandizing pitch. Right, okay. So quite a lot of chat actually. So we got Intense Gamer, Patrick Stock, Lindsay, Yabba Yabba Hey. You'll notice my voice is slightly dying. It's on the way out. The winter flu, or it's autumn here, but it feels like winter, is kind of affecting me. So who else we got? Bird Dog, Crypto Bobber Job, first time chat. Good to see you. I have so many questions for you. Where do I start? Anyone you recommend for tax advice in the UK? No, I wouldn't recommend anybody necessarily. Spread the tweet, guys. Thank you very much, Patrick. Who else have we got? Q6God81. Buddy Holidays, good to see you. Ali Mac, good to see you. Christian Iron. Ted 2005. Sizzlurk. Junebug Smithington. Dion Borrett. Grand Pageant. Rich 671. Robert Sick. Or Robert CLK. 2120. Severns. Mr. Famutin. Hurricane Hicks. Buddy Holidays. Cheered 1 bit. Crypto 1111. Chamor, Kcos, Crypto Hulky, Little John 121, King of BBWs, Crypto Dad 1989, Wise Fool, aka Aircare 47 06660. Anyone know if I can change my username? Yeah, good idea. Sky No Limit. Why are there so many misplaced bulls cheering on a bull run while macros have never been so bleak since the early 70s? It's pathetic, I know. Lindsay, thank you very much.
Live hard.
Thank you very much. Tom 11188222010. Yellow Heart NFT website. Don't know what that is. Linear, what's your thoughts on Linear? I couldn't give a shit about Linear anymore, to be honest. Damn, Twitch sucks. But for Suppo, I join all channels. Thank you very much, Sterling Maloya. I love that. Arch Jason, thank you for following. Nicola 1965, good to see you. Fratboy Jim got COVID again. Oh no. I have never gotten COVID. And I hope to never get COVID personally. Right, okay. So, let's get started. Said the highs, etc., etc. So, now, let's get started with some content. Right, so if you've watched my video, if you've been looking at my Twitter, then I apologise for the language, but really I felt it was the only way in which I could communicate how I feel September has gone. This has been one of the most annoying months, to me anyway. September is traditionally a bearish market, and we can see that, disregarding 2022, that of the last 9 Septembers that the crypto market has experienced, only twice in 9 times has there been a bullish month, or should I say it's been a green month. So we have ended at a higher price than we started on. Only twice. Now, we are in one of the worst macroeconomical pictures ever. The worst economy I have ever actually live experienced. I was around in 2008. I didn't really care too much. I didn't feel any burden of that particular recession. This one I am feeling before we're even in a recession. So it just goes to show that we have got a long way to go, a lot more turmoil, and yet I'm already feeling it. And despite that, like, Bitcoin has essentially ended the month on a high. It's actually ended the month. We are on the last day of September, and we're actually ending the month higher than we started the month, despite the macroeconomical picture. And it, to be honest, it absolutely pisses me off. But there are reasons behind it, which I am going to go into in a minute. But what I can say is that traditionally in Septembers is we have not had as harsh of a retracement from the top to this point, I think, in the history. We have had a lot of drops prior to September. All right. So in most of the times when we've had a really bad September, so look, 13%, 19%, we've had a good May and a good June, a good May and a good June. And actually this year we've had a terrible May and a terrible June, a terrible April. Double figure losses. So it's not a surprise that we have baked in a lot of the bearishness that comprises the overall bearishness of the year. Having said that, it still pisses me off. A lot of the reason why I'm annoyed is because of this that happened earlier in the month. This that happened on the 21st of September. If you watched the live video that I did at the time, you will have seen me live pissed off at this, which is that Jerome Powell, speaking up on behalf of the Fed, essentially only raised rates by 75 basis points, which I felt was a PUSSY move. I felt that he essentially is kicking the can down the road. He's not adequately tackling inflation. He's not forthrightly and strongly, like he said he was, going to be tackling inflation. No, he just added on the same percentage points that he added on previous quarter, the previous period, that actually ended up in only bringing inflation down 0.2%. But he kept it that way, and I personally think that he did it on behalf of the government to make people feel like the economy was not in dire straits coming up to the midterm elections. Today, we have had the PCE figures released. So you can see that the PCE has come down. So 6.4% was July and 6.2% is August. And this is partially a reason, I imagine, that Bitcoin is actually up today. So it has been going up since the 21st of September. We have had some up, down, but essentially we have consistently been going up since the 22nd, right? Ever since, and I said it was going to happen. I said that there's no reason for people to be necessarily adequately bearish because they're not doing enough to curb inflation. They aren't trying to curb spending. And so why wouldn't people buy into that? Because it wasn't depressing news. But having seen that the inflation, the headline inflation has gone down, actually core inflation has gone up 0.2% higher than expected. So it was expected to be 4.7, and the core inflation, which doesn't take into account food and energy bills, which is what's built into the headline inflation, that has gone up 0.2%. And this is the gauge that the Fed look at in terms of making their decisions on raising rates. They look at the PCE, apparently, more than they look at the PCI. And if core inflation is going up, then essentially it's saying to them that 75 basis points just is not working as a measure. But I think that this is a reason why Bitcoin is going up, because it's not damning news. You know, the headline inflation is going down, so it's showing that we've hit a relative peak inflation. And so the market just goes nuts on times like this. And also the Dixie has fallen. It has fallen to 111.4 today. Now, I will say to you that despite that, the Dow Jones is pretty much at a low, all right? It's pretty much equaled the lowest point that the Dow Jones has hit in recent times. The S&P 500, exactly the same. Even right now as we speak, it's on its lowest. And the Nasdaq is approaching its lowest. And yet Bitcoin appears to be thriving in this scenario. And I think that an additional reason why Bitcoin is thriving is because of currencies capitulating, essentially. The value of currencies capitulating. So Eurozone inflation hits a record 10%. The highest ever. The highest ever for the Eurozone. And Germany, the highest inflation since World War II. The UK, the highest inflation since the 80s. And the European Central Bank is likely to implement another big rate increase. Stocks are in the shitter. So Apple and Meta have basically announced that they're possibly bottoming soon, and we'll take with it possibly the Nasdaq with them. But what we're seeing is that we're seeing global currencies essentially going down the toilet. Okay, so the Bank of England, you saw in my video like 4 days ago that Bank of England were going to be having an intervention because of the falling value of the pound, which was almost, getting close to 1-to-1 with the dollar, which to me is absolutely insane. And brilliant. I actually cashed out some of my dollars into pounds recently as a result. So I personally think it's a good thing. But anyway, the Bank of England, their intervention measure is to pivot to money printing. Now, we were already on course. Like Britain is basically on a 10.1% inflation rate. And moving towards an 18 to 20% inflation rate come the first quarter of 2023. And yet, their answer to the inflation rate is pivot to money printing, quantitative easing, essentially doing the opposite of what the US is doing right now. So what they're going to be doing is they're going to be buying government bonds, and I'm not sure if the figure is here, but I think it's like something like 5 billion a day, something like that, 5 billion a day in bonds that they are going to be buying to essentially hedge themselves against their falling economy. All right, so they're trying to bring they're trying to bring some future value into the economy, but they've actually just kicked the can down the road worse than Jerome Powell has. Go to money printing is absolutely 100% the stupidest thing that Liz Truss, who's the UK Prime Minister, could announce, along with the UK Chancellor. And I actually think that this is going to be responsible for making Liz Truss have a very short stay as UK Prime Minister. Because this is a stupid move. Everybody's up in arms in the UK about it. So anyway. So we have already got, we got a shit show that is slowly unraveling. Right? Slowly unraveling. What is one story, then there's another story, then there's another story. And essentially the combined value of that is going to, I personally believe, bring Bitcoin and the rest of the financial markets down to their bottom come the first quarter of 2023. I think that's where it's going to essentially coagulate into the perfect storm of the everything shitstorm, the everything bubble bursting, the economy just dying out, currencies dying out. And I think it's going to bring down Bitcoin. I know it's going to bring down Bitcoin. But what I also think is that actually this is going to start to make the bullish case for Bitcoin. Because this is a currency that, yes, although against all of the currencies failing right now, is actually falling harder than, ultimately, people are going to turn their eyes to something that over the course of time is more appreciative and is likely to preserve purchasing power than currencies which seem to be dying and where the government seem to be doing the actual opposite of what they should be doing, like pivoting to money printing with absolutely no influence on that decision. The UK have no influence on this decision. This is not what the UK wants. The UK are against it. And it just goes to show that you need a decentralized system and a money tied to a decentralized system. And that is why I think that Bitcoin is doing well despite stocks plummeting, because people are trying to front run the potential use case, but I think it's useless. I think that also what's bolstering this is leverage trading. So all the idiots doing leverage trading who don't actually know how to... I'm not saying everybody who does leverage trading is an idiot, just really the noobs that that watch somebody like Crypto, Sheldon the Sniper, or the Moon, watching somebody like that, seeing a bullish title video and thinking, right, I'm going to go long or whatever, or short or whatever, and basically the leverage trading platform swallows up that money, liquidates those idiots, the cannon fodder, and essentially can, with that money, they become big wallets. These leverage exchanges, essentially, are becoming huge wallets that can pump the market. They have enough money to be able to pump the market. And that is what I think is happening. But I think these are temporary things. You know, Bitcoin this morning was 18, well, it says here 19.1. I have seen it 18.9 in the last 24 hours. And we're essentially 2K from the bottom and 3.5x from the top. So we are perilously close to we're perilously close to the cliff edge, essentially. Cliff edge is basically right here, right? We're not very far from it. And yeah, so we're not very far from the cliff edge. What was the point I was going to make there? Yeah, we're not very far from the cliff edge, and I believe that we have got, as a result of that, we have got further falling to come, because of the fact that anything could literally take Bitcoin from here to here. Like there's hardly much of a difference of this point to this point. There is a lot of volume, I imagine, but it will just take one bearish scenario, one of the many that have been cooked up and probably ready to go at some point, to take Bitcoin down to here and then subsequently much lower. But certainly for now, most cryptos are in green. And that's just how it is. Those of us who are impatient, which include me, are pissed off about that. But that's just the way it goes. It's annoying, but that is the way that it goes. Right, okay, let me see what you guys are saying. I want to catch up with you before I move on to essentially the juicy stuff. The stuff that really makes one salivate. Las Vale, good to see you. Sundoc23, Crypto Rubin. Hi, Suppoman. Greetings from Cape Verde Island, West Africa. Do you think inflation has been suppressed for the American midterms? Yeah, that's what I said earlier. I think that has been I think that who knows what chicanery is going on, but I do think that the slightly dovish view I think that Jerome Powell took this month, I think was related to the midterms. But 8 Bitcoin in the future will be fully desired, will be really desired. But 8 Bitcoin in the future will be really desired. Yeah, I mean, it will be, yeah. Las Vale gave out 10 community sub-gifts. Are you joking? 10? What? That's insane. What? An absolute legend. And I see people taking it. Fantastic. Las Vale, you are an absolute legend. Thank you very much. Reverend Flashback, bless you, Suppo, and all my brothels and sistles. Suppo, are you shorting the IBEX? I don't even know what that is, to be honest. Can one become a millionaire in 3 cycles? Yeah, easily. I think one can become a millionaire in 1 cycle. Like, the higher up you go, kind of the more diminishing returns you get. But if you get into something which seems like it's in the early stages of exploiting its roadmap, then you've got, I think, heavy gains ahead. So Solana is quite high, Near is quite high, even Shiba's quite high. But yet we haven't got a mass. What's the word? A relative critical mass on those assets. So I think a critical mass could actually send them, going up to the stratosphere. Edward of Philippe P, or Felipe, Suppo, you are the best. Thank you very much. There's some polls going on, but I can't actually see what the polls are saying. Suppo, do you think Valhalla and Verve will go bullish? They might do. I think they're a risk. I wouldn't invest fresh money into it. Just the money that's already there, if I'm honest. Let me just move the chat interface. You can't see it, but it's for my benefit, I suppose. Just move the chat interface up so I can see what you guys say. Q6 God, hello, Super. Been watching you since late 2017. Ah, the glory days. Hey man, I own 8 Bitcoin and we'll get out soon if we hit 21k. Should I sacrifice 3 Bitcoin and get into alts? Stay? That's up to you. I won't advise either way. You know, I've got 10 Bitcoin and never touch it. Never will touch. It will stay invested. So what do you do with your crypto? Do you stake them? No, I don't really stake them. If I'm honest with you, I don't really stake them. I should, but I don't, because I don't have enough of a position for staking at this present time. Why this video does not have a back button? I don't get it. Jerry Banfield's in the house. Jerry Banfield, I bought 2,000 in cryptos you recommended last stream. Jerry, you're going for it. I love it. I love it. I would be keen to see what you've got. And I hope that all's okay for your home in Florida, obviously. I've seen, what is it, Hurricane, I can't remember what the name is. Bill? Tom? I can't remember what it's called. But I saw Ian. I should know that because it's quite an English name. But yeah, I saw the damage caused by Hurricane Ian. So I hope that, you know, your home and your family and everybody associated, everybody generally, is okay. Been following you since 2017. I know you like Hex. I was wondering why Hex is not on your list. Ha 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 ha! Wait and watch on, people. Wait and watch on. Right, okay. Cask was working on your spreadsheet, create a community copy for all folks. Yes, you did. And I appreciate that. Thank you very much for making that, I think, quite dynamic copy of it. It's excellent. Right, okay. I haven't heard of BlackRock iShares, no. Right, okay, so let's move to the piece de resistance. Let us move now to what I was talking about in the last video. Now, I have made some changes. This is unacceptable. We will make changes. So, I made some changes. I actually miscalculated my Cardano, and I think I had less than I had said. So, yeah, so I think it actually amounts to about 200k at the levels that I have put the optimal buy-in price in. But remember, this is already a position. So I think I might delete this and add a fresh 200,000 elsewhere. Okay, but I'm leaving that for now. I'm parking it for now. All right, but I just wanted to say that it is 250,000 in the last stream that I miscalculated. There's also another miscalculation, and that was UFO gaming, which actually, if I think back retrospectively, 625x did seem like, you know, it would be quite a multiplier, and I didn't think it had gone down that badly. And actually, as it turned out, it wasn't 625x; it was more 62x. So anyway, so I have made some changes, and I've added some more tokens. Okay, so this is adding some tokens, which actually over the course of time probably will actually do. So as I do more fundamental analysis over the course of time, so I've got, you know, batches which I earmark for investment, but as time goes on, as more people suggest things, or as I spend more time looking at other coins that have good fundamentals in the market, or ones that you bring up during the live stream, I will more than likely add these potentially, if I feel strongly enough. But I have added 4 more cryptocurrencies, which you will see right here. They include Aleph Zero, Alpha Zero, whatever it's called, Casper, Illuvium, and Hex. All right. Somebody brought up Illuvium in the last stream, and I think it's got the potential to hit an all-time low that from there has the potential to do extremely well. You know, Illuvium is a beautiful looking game, AAA quality game. That was highly hyped come the play-to-earn season when Axie Infinity was getting the lion's share of money flow, and Illuvium was kind of getting in there. Come the next time round, I think Illuvium's going to actually have a game, whereas Axie Infinity was able to exploit money flow because they actually had a game, they had a secondary token, they had players, they got guilds, there was a lot of infrastructure built up around Axie Infinity, whereas Illuvium at the time was just an idea, a white paper, potentially some trailers, but there was not an actual physical game that you could actually test and look at. And now there is, and come the actual next period, I think that use case will be actually built, like substance and fundamentals will be built more into the price than just pure speculation. So Illuvium comes into this, and I think there's going to be an opportunity to really buy it at the absolute lowest it's ever been. Hex is in here because despite, the negative sentiment that maybe exists around Hex and hexagons, I seriously doubt Richard Hart is going to let Hex just kind of go ignored. He loves Hex. Hex is strongly marketed, and until Pulse Chain and Pulse X comes out, Hex is going to be where the concentration of his energy goes into. And I think that builds into it some compressed bullishness, all right? So people who are looking to take positions when the market turns favorable. So therefore, Hex is built into this because I think there's going to be a second opportunity to get into Hex, a decent price. And I think that ode to Richard Hart, which unlike most of these projects have no front man that is visible. Okay, they have no CZ, they have no Charles Hoskinson. You are essentially, their bullishness is built out of trends. Whereas cryptocurrencies like Hex and, ADA and BNB, they actually have a front man plus trends. So they have an even better chance of doing well. So whatever your opinions are of Hex, it has had no downtime, it has had no hack, and it has not, other than the drop in price, has not fundamentally burnt people in a BitConnect style. So you've got to go with, this will probably make money for people in the next period. And what we've got is a dwindling Hex price, which I think is going to go down even more. So it's the capitalist in me that has now got a potential position on Hex, which, given their APY, which is arguably better than most decentralized finance platforms, particularly ones that are actually of any note, it could be a good investment. So anyway, I'll move on to it in a little bit, but I have made some changes, and as you can see, it's now, the amount I'll invest is now 1 million, and the amount cash out is just over 100 million. So previously it was 975 and 975,000 and 102 million. Getting ahead of myself. But the difference is that because of the change I had to make in UFO gaming, which was 62 rather than 625, it actually had quite an astronomical effect on the overall. So the median gains from all the coins is about 99x. So this is a good thing. That means you can be diversified in a number of narratives, in a number of exciting projects. Some will do even better than I've predicted, and some will do less, not as good as I've predicted, bringing the potential median to 100x. So instead of going, because you could ask, Suppo, why go in on 30 coins when you could just go in on one coin that will also make 100x? Well, you're hedging your bets. So like Jerry Banfield said in his in my previous stream, is that he tends to go all in, which makes him feel like he's missing out on various narratives, various coins, which increases the likelihood of selling. So if you've got a diversified portfolio which has a median value of 100x, then that means that you can hodl all these, have exposure to a number of assets, some will do very well, some which may not do as well, but the average should be about 100x, and you should be able to hold this for the long term. So doing a median of all the gains, the average is 99x, which I think is quite superb. So anyway, so we're now going to go into these one by one. Any way you could share the spreadsheet? Unfortunately not, to be honest. Jerry likes Hex, yes. I'm aware of Jerry's. I got to admit that I really liked what Jerry had to say about Hex. The difference is that versus just being any, because I think Jerry's point was, hey, I can make a cryptocurrency. I'll get loads of people to buy into it higher than I did, make 100x. I'll cash out and make a shitload of money. He made a very good point. But Richard Hart, you can't actually deny that he is an OG in cryptocurrency. Very well respected, very knowledgeable, excellent debater, all around great marketing personality. Like, love him or hate him, you watch him, you pay attention to him. People are divided, people love him, people really detest him. But what you can't deny is that everybody knows about Hex. Even the people that really don't want to know about Hex. So anyway, yeah, so therein lies the difference between just anybody bringing out a coin and Richard Hart bringing out a coin. He's got something to lose, and he doesn't like to lose. So that just goes to show you that you're making a pretty good bet. Right, okay, let me get the formatter out. And let me start unfilling these motherfuckers. So, the first low cap that I have got on here is going to be Mina. So, Mina is a novelty blockchain, right? It's the smallest blockchain in the world, okay? So that is its that's its USP. That's its differentiator. That is what you pay attention to. So Mina has been invested in by Coinbase and a number of other VCs, and they, I think, are likely to come down to below their IDO price. So their IDO price, which happened on CoinList, and it was very exciting and actually led to a quite magnificent multiplier, was 25 cents. So people got into Mina at 25 cents. That was its IDO. That was its lowest price for the public. And from 20 cents, I think Mina kind of went up to $60 or something like that on some exchanges, or a few exchanges. And it has since dramatically retraced. Now, Mina is a very early stage project. So I've got 125x gains that I've got written in for Mina. And the reason why I think it's got 125x is because it's being taken down to essentially its IDO price. So you're likely to be able to get into it at a lower price than anybody who was a private investor in it. Therefore, you're able to get all the gains that it got in its early stages. So essentially, it's taking it right back to an IDO again. So you're almost like getting into Mina and IDO. Now, Mina has various problems with it. It's not really a functional, active mainnet. It's not scalable in any way. And it's kind of really working out how it's going to proceed moving forward. But they have got a 100 million ecosystem fund led by FTX Ventures, funnily enough. So that just goes to show you the parties looking to make Mina a success. And with that behind them, I can see that with their price trajectory being taken right back to the beginning, but yet they've got the beginnings of a fantastic ecosystem. It kind of marries up with the price. So that means that in the future, when it actually is scalable, develops an ecosystem, has DeFi, has NFTs, has dApps, has DAOs, and all those various things, then that is going to price in the potential $25 of the future. And I think it's going to exceed $25 in the future, but I think for one cycle anyway, 25 is as high as I will probably go. So it's not really talked about. You don't really see other YouTubers talk about it. I think I'm the only one that talks about Mina, if I'm honest with you. Despite its status of being in the 100, I think I'm the only one that talks about Mina. So I think that in the next period, everybody's going to be looking for the next layer ones. There's going to be Aptos. There's going to be Sui. There's going to be what's the other one? There's another one coming out. But there's going to be all these new layer one blockchains, and the layer one blockchain race is going to get quite exciting. And Mina, I think people are going to pay attention to its USP, and I think that is what's going to be able to enable it to achieve pretty high returns in the future. So given this is a mid cap, I'm going to be putting 20k into this, which, as far as my low cap investments are concerned, that's quite high. But I think that Mina has got a really solid chance of being a top crypto in the future. It's well backed. A lot of people are excited about its future, and we haven't really seen a lot in way of development. We haven't seen a lot in way of progress with it. So all that can be baked into its future price, and we don't care for now. We hope that it stays silent. So yeah, so I'm going to be putting 20k into Mina. At this present time, I've probably got about $1,000 in Mina, not very much at all. With an average buy price, I think, of about 58 cents. So I'm going to be putting in a fresh 20k. Which will hopefully bring me to a 2.5 million figure, should all go well with Mina. And I think it's relatively low risk. I'd say this is a risk factor of about 4 out of 10. So it's like mid-risk, but kind of lower mid-risk. Then we have got Gala. Gala is a development house, essentially, a gaming studio, as it were. Gala is developing multiple titles. So that hedges its success. Some titles will be shit and some will be brilliant. I think their most recent one is Town Crush, which people love. They got a Walking Dead, which is, I think, officially licensed game. And the difference between a project like Gala and another project like Vulcan Forged and UFO is that Gala are actually bringing out licensed games. Gala are also, within itself, a media entity rather than just a gaming development studio. So they're developing a multitude of game titles under their wing. So it's a bit like investing in Konami or Activision or Epic Games or Rockstar Gaming. It's like investing in that. It's like you're not investing in GTA 5, but you're investing in the whole GTA series and whatever else, Red Dead Redemption or whatever it's called, by investing in Rockstar Gaming. So that's what the equivalent of getting involved in Gala, but Gala are also getting involved in music and film. So it's essentially a media company, not just a gaming company. So I think that also yields fantastic results in the future. Now, Gala at this present time, I think it's about, well, it has been, I've bought a fresh batch to DCA in, and that was at 0.039, but my optimal buy-in will be basically half the price, and then some. And I will put, again, 20k into that. I really like the sound of Mina. May put more, of Gala, might put more into that. But this has a 133x gain potential. Now, you're probably saying, well, why put 100k into Solana, which is 125, and only 20k into Gala, because 133? It comes down to risk. Solana is not going to go anywhere. It's very unlikely to... It's actually likely to probably be the next cycle's Ethereum. A very strong asset, not going to go anywhere. Whereas Gala could get usurped. For all intents and purposes, could get highly diluted, therefore suppressing the price action. People could just go off it. Anything could happen at that level. So I'm bullish on the project, but the amount of money I'll invest is all related to risk. So if they're roughly going to give me the same return, I'd rather put more money into something that's not going to go anywhere than something that has risk attached to it. So that 20k could turn into $2.6 million. And I think there's a high likelihood that will happen because Gala has already been approaching $1. So I see it going to $2 once it's actually got games that comprise its gaming studio rather than just ideas, which is what it was last time. It didn't have the media arm attached to it last time. And I think it's going to have way more money flow in the next period. Next, we have got Cadena. So Cadena is a slightly more risky play, I think. So you're probably looking at me and thinking it's not that risky. But I think it is a risky play. So Cadena is quite an inflationary cryptocurrency. It's a proof-of-work cryptocurrency. Mainly those mining it can apply the sell pressure to it. And that's what I'm worried about. Because the mining pool, the amount of circulation that is there for miners, uncirculated coins that is going to be eventually going to miners, I think is going to add to sell pressure over the course of time and fundamentally potentially dilute Cadena. But Cadena as a project is very exciting. So it's brought out by the guys of JP Morgan, Accenture, Microsoft, Yale. A lot of Ivy League A companies and universities are behind the creation or origins of Cadena. Now, Cadena is essentially a fast transaction, high performance, low gas fee blockchain. So it's a proof of work. So proof of work is intended to be the most secure type of cryptocurrency, but it's scalable as well, which is something you don't really see a lot of in cryptocurrency. You don't really see scalability and security going hand in hand. Typically, it's decentralization and security or decentralization and scalability, but you never really get a pairing of scalability and security. And that is what Cadena is looking to essentially bring bring to the market. That's its USP to the market, and also its high performance. So that's something that you'll never 480,000 transactions as a theoretical transactions performance per minute is exceptional for a proof of work. So I think that a lot of people are very, very bullish on it, but it lacks fundamentals from the perspective that it doesn't have much in the way of contacts. It's gotten to where it's gotten to, I think, because it was kind of in the right place at the right time during the layer 1 race between kind of October and November last year. It was just right place, right time. It got picked up and thrown up into this carousel of money flow. And I think now people are expecting for a second coming of Cadena. And I do expect that myself. It has reached about $30. But given what I think is going to get taken down to, which is back down to its kind of low point before it went up to $30, near $30, I think it's going to have that trajectory again, but with more supply and potentially more sell pressure next time round. Their marketing needs to do better. Their ecosystem needs to, they need to have more of an ecosystem fund or ecosystem venture that makes projects build on Cadena rather than choosing the many other layer ones. And I think that is where they'll fundamentally fall down. Before, it was built on speculation. Next time, there needs to be more fundamentals. But anyway, I'm going to put 15k into this because I like it. That 15k could turn into 900,000. Quite sexy, right? Quite sexy. Next, we have got Optimism. Now, Optimism, I actually think... I'm going to come to questions after this. Optimism, I think, is actually the kind of next Matic. All right, so Optimism is in its very early stages of not really adoption, but of awareness. So where Matic has actually really matured as an investment is that at first there was adoption. Not much adoption, there was adoption. But the actual awareness of it came later. You'll notice I was the first person to talk about Matic because I spotted its early promise. But the actual awareness of it didn't come for another 2 years. And Optimism, I think, is in a very similar situation in that it's not necessarily a developed project. Like, Polygon did not start out where it is now, which is essentially a layer 1, as well as a layer 2, as well as an ecosystem. Where Matic started out as a scaling and a layer 2. Scalability for Ethereum. That's what it started out as. And it then evolved into a behemoth. And I think that Optimism has the potential to play the same game. It starts off as scaling for Ethereum and a different scalability, optimistic roll-ups basically is what Optimism brings to the party versus Plasma side chains. It's got some good adoption, but not much in the way of awareness. A lot of people got into the airdrop, which I think is going to act as the sell pressure when the shit hits the fan. And I think that's what's going to bring Optimism down to about 25 cents. Also, added to that, Optimism are going to be diluting their supply over the next, I think, 6 or 7 months. So their first year inflation rate is going to be, I think, 40%. Or no, 30%. So their overall... their total supply is going to be 4.3 billion tokens. So they're going to be adding a whole billion over what's already there, which is about 270,000. So we're going to have 1.2 billion tokens versus 200 million tokens that exist right now. And so it's going to really dilute Optimism, I think. And that's going to allow for people to get into a fantastic price and be able to essentially ride Optimism as they develop as a project. They're already doing quite some good work marketing-wise. I see them on Twitter marketing quite a lot, making partnerships. But I think that over the course of time, they're going to become a behemoth like Matic. They've got that potential. People are already aware of what they do natively, which is scaling, and they can add to that armor and essentially go the same way as Matic. So I'm going to be putting in 20k, a relatively hefty amount, actually, into Optimism, because I think it's a very strong project. And that 20k could turn into 1.2 million. Now again, I am doing this because the dilution I think is going to hurt the gains potential. Optimism has the potential to actually be a 100x, if not higher, but I think the dilution is going to spoil the party somewhat. Right, okay, I'm going to move on so I'm going to ask you guys, I'm going to see what you guys are saying. I want to see if there's any thoughts that you guys have got, and I just want to really pay attention to what you guys are saying. Give a bit of a breather. Jay Banfield, I will do a video soon showing what I've got. Good, I'm looking forward to that. And guys, make sure that you are following Jerry, because I will definitely raid Jerry if he is on at the same time. That sounds really, really sus, doesn't it? I'll raid Jerry. So if you had only 15,000 to invest, would you go all in on Near Protocol? Would I? Yeah. But the reason why I would, and why I don't recommend you do, is because I'm good at holding my nerve, right? If I was a person that doesn't watch YouTube, if you are a person that doesn't watch YouTube videos, that's not really exposed to the market, isn't in Telegram groups, hasn't got people around them constantly saying, buy this, buy that, buy this, buy that, this is going to be the next meme coin, this is going to be the next meme coin. If you're not exposed to that, then yeah, it could be a good idea to put 15,000 into Near Protocol. However, if you are all in on one cryptocurrency, then you are going to feel FOMO when something else looks exciting. You'll sell, and you won't realize the maturity of Near Protocol. So it depends on the type of person you are. Now, I'm a person that does get quite excited by other cryptocurrencies, but if I am really confident about one cryptocurrency, I will go all in, like I did with Ethos in 2017. But what you've got to also realize is 20,000 cryptocurrencies. There's going to be times when, you'll want more you'll want to have an ability to have exposure, and going all in doesn't give you that chance. So unless you're happy to be married to one coin, essentially, then I wouldn't recommend it. Let me have a look. Buddy Holidays, have you seen the Netflix Cryptopia? I haven't seen that, but I've seen that it's there in my recommendations, just haven't watched it. What will happen to Hex and Pulse Chain when the highest of stakes premieres on Prime? Yeah, I mean, I think that's going to have a astronomical effect on the speculative value of both of them. Whatever stage they are at. And actually, you raise a good point, Buddy Holiday. So the highest of stakes is going to be Richard Hart's independent film. I don't know if Netflix are actually going to. Oh no, Prime, right? So I don't really know I don't know, how official it is that it's going to actually launch. But I think if it does launch, and there's a very severe lack of crypto content on Netflix or any media actually, that will concentrate a lot of attention at Hex or Pulse Chain. Hey Super, I've heard you say in the past that you don't sell till 100x. What are your thoughts for non-millionaires trying to make money in the next bull run as far as ladder selling? It's difficult to say. Timing the market is an art form, and there's no real answer to it. A lot of the time you're lucky if you time the market. So what I would say is just have a plan, really. Have an idea in your mind of how much you'd like to make and what vehicle, i.e. what cryptocurrency and gains potential is likely to help you, make that plan and stick to it. My personal approach is 100x. That's my personal approach. And to be honest, it's a position that actually not loses more money, but is a losing position most of the time. Because if I'm waiting for 100x and in that time the market tops, then unless I have managed to get some 100x's up to that, so in November last year, I was able to sell a few like Game Zone, Adapad maybe, Wagyu Swap, Cryo War, Star Launch. What else did really well in that period? I'm trying to think. Obviously, Linear and Bitmax did really well. I sold Cardano Phantom. I sold some of those. But I sold it because I had hit my... I didn't sell them all either. But I did sell a gargantuan chunk of them because the 100x had been achieved. But all the other 50 cryptocurrencies that had not achieved 100x ended up going down massively. And I sold maybe a few, but not many. So typically it's quite a losing position. So it's a very risky position. However, when you win big with one or two, then it can cancel out the losses that you make when the market tops, and then it loses 80-90%. So it's fine. It works for me. But, for anybody who is not a millionaire right now, the way to become a millionaire with not very much capital is to be aggressive. And just to be honest with you, it's not easy. All right. You've got to be relatively lucky most of the time. Anyway, let me see any more. LF0 on the sheet. Yes. And you're in it, aren't you, Patrick? Angie, good to see you. Hi, Sue. I must say your last video was very useful and informative. Thank you for doing this research for us. Say no problem. That's basically what, it would go to waste otherwise. I basically spend all day looking at cryptocurrencies, etc. It would go to waste if I didn't, if I didn't share it. Illuvium previous all-time high was 1800. Actually, I think it was more like 1900. 1933, I think it was. Thoughts on FTX trying to buy Celsius? Well, I covered that when this is a big reason why I am getting into FTX, because I just think they have behemoth written all over them. They're basically the next Binance, and Sam Bankman-Fried is putting them in a position where they're a massive business. Getting all the he's getting all the T's lined up. I think there's a better word for it. He's getting everything lined up. Someone say in the chat, what's he getting lined up? But he's getting everything lined up perfectly for this to be a mega business. So I think I'm not surprised at all on FTX trying to, buying the assets of Celsius. Have I gotten up? I think I'm well behind on the chat. Let me slightly catch up. I'm going to put 2,000 on H-bar while it's really low. Let me have a quick look at H-bar and give you an idea of where I foresee it going. So Hedera, is probably one of my biggest investments ever, and I would personally wait to take an optimal position at about 2 cents. Yeah, I would say. I think it's got the potential to go, or maybe 3 cents, 2.5 to 3 cents. I would say, good DCA price. That would take it to roughly summer 2019. I want to say. No, probably 2020. I would say that was. Akala is a Ponzi. I don't actually know. Have not looked at Akala in a long time. Let me have a gand at Akala. I did crowd loan into this one, but not much. Like about 1,000, I think, because I just wasn't confident it was going to deliver. I think it's pretty safe to say it hasn't. It's really concentrated on DeFi. That is its drawback, I would say. But it has potential for the future. But this was really exciting about March, April last year, and it's never really been exciting since. Moonbeam was the more exciting crowd loan project. It's just Moonbeam also had a pretty shit crowd loan profit potential. See, but I find it strange that Link is not on your list. Yeah, well, I mean, I already hold Link, so a lot of these are fresh. These would be fresh. I mean, admittedly, I do have Star Atlas and I have Marlin. I have these two as well. But I'm not going to add to my Chainlink position because I took my position when Chainlink was $1.50 anyway. But it's not going to be on my list because this is my list. This is what I want to buy. I'm not going to buy any more Chainlink because I already put a lot of money. I put 5 Bitcoins into Chainlink. Well, $50,000 into Chainlink at $1.50. So there's no point in me going for that again. Thought about ADA, but H-bar seems more promising. Well, ADA's probably more likely to be decentralized, but I get what you're saying. Nika man, out of all the alts you're reviewing, how many do you think should be wise to stick to? 5 to 8? As many as you feel comfortable with, I would say. You want to take a position in a bear market, but at the same time, you want to be able to have disposable income for a bull market when that takes place. So, however much you stretch to without being too diluted. Like if you've got 100, if you've got 8 with $100 invested, that's pointless. So you should probably keep it down. It all depends on how much you've got. So obviously, I know firsthand in crypto that to make a lot of money in crypto, you need to invest a lot of money. If you have 0.0006 of a Bitcoin, then you're never going to be a millionaire, right? You're never going to be a millionaire. But if you have one Bitcoin, you've got more chance. So it's all relative to how much you invest. So what you want to do is you want to have not too many diluted positions. Now, I personally think that, I have, I have $1 million to invest. So, I guess it's not, it's not apples with pears. So you've just got to make a decision on what you feel comfortable with. A position that's hedged enough that you don't feel like you're going to FOMO. Maybe have exposure to, maybe 3 infrastructures and 1 DApp, or 2 infrastructures, one metaverse, and maybe Hex or something. But you wanna be relatively diversified, but not too diluted, if you know what I mean. And that is more of a common sense thing. I'll start DCAing once Bitcoin hits 17,000. It's not a bad idea, but if it hits 17,000, the likelihood is we're gonna fall. Going to.
Do you think Matic is done, or do you think it has a chance for another go?
Whoa! 1,000 gems from Big ICOS Power. Thank you very much. Thank you. Woo, woo. Some Ali McBeal dancing there. So do I think Matic's done? No, I don't think Matic's done. However, what I would say is that, for me personally, how are you physically? For me personally, I got into Matic at 0.2 of a cent. So I'm not going to invest in Matic at a price anywhere near what it is now. But it's a decision for you to make. Polygon, a Matic, whatever. How far can it realistically go? How far can it realistically go? 6 billion market cap now. If it's an infrastructure, it's got an ecosystem. But how far can it realistically go? It's had a lot of its growth. A lot of the money has been made. So how far can it realistically grow as a project? I don't know. I think that it's already achieved a lot of its fundamental value. The rest will just be, they just like the project, really. I don't really see how much, what more they can do with it. So I'm not personally going to invest in it, but I don't think it's going to 100x from this point, because it's already 1000x from the point I got in. So it's not going to 100x more. That would be ridiculous. That would be essentially a 100,000x for me. So I don't think that's going to happen. But but I think that it's, I think that it's obviously very exciting. People love it. People do love it. I just don't think that it's got as high a ceiling as others. Axelar, that's one. Axelar's out now. They made some kind of partnership with Sui in the last few days. Oh, interesting. Axelar, yes. So I heard they came out on CoinList, but I don't know. Okay. What's that?
Do you feel these buy-in levels may come soon or in like 3 to 6 months?
Oh, good question, Birdog, thank you for the 100 bits. I think 6 months, yeah. I think we are... Okay, so my personal opinion is that where we are now is kind of similar to 2018 in the sense that... I've got 220 at the moment. Let me minimize this. So I think that this line is essentially 20k. So if we have a look at the 2017 bull market, this is the equivalent of going up 70k, and we have essentially retraced down to 20, and we'll basically be bounding around in this area. All right, so we've gone up 24, 22, 21. But this is 20. It's kind of been or 19, whatever. But I think eventually, we've smothered it. We've already kind of smothered this level. Look, we are smothering it right now. And I think eventually we're just going to go straight through it. And that's where we're going to kind of go into the 12k area. And I think it's going to happen. And then what's going to happen as a result of that? So this is going to be like the bottom. But, I mean, the bull market didn't officially start till about here. So, you know, where we actually bottomed... Oops. You know, where we bottomed to where the bull market actually started, you know, were two different things. So although I feel we'll bottom in the next 6 months, I do think that we'll go sideways, being this bottoming area for a while. Then we'll probably see early signs of recovery and then dropping back down. But eventually the market, I think, will get started come mid-2023. You know, so this happened November 2018, but the market didn't actually make a comeback for 2 years. So, well, it was about a year and 10 months. Yeah, year and 10 months. So I think that after we burst through the 20k and go down to about 12k, 10k, then I think that we've got a year and a half of kind of trying to recover, and then eventually a bull market will come kind of 2025, I would say. So that's how I see it. Yeah, that's how I see it. This is essentially the equivalent. So this is kind of January or February 2023, and this is kind of autumn 2025. That's how I see it. So, I hope that clarifies. Is the SEC and Mr. Burns going to spoil the party with regulation? I think so, yeah. I think a lot will change in the market eventually. When the government get their big greasy scammy hands on it, they're going to try and make it so that you can only invest via a broker or something like that. You're not going to be able to talk about the assets because it'll be a regulated street, and then therefore it'll kill off YouTubers. So, I mean, you can't really talk about stocks. You shouldn't really talk about stocks. So most of the people who have a stock market channel are probably going to get creamed eventually, because you shouldn't really talk about regulated assets. There are rules. So, you know, right now we're in Wild Wild West. Do what we want, really, but Cadena can easily hit $100. Okay. I don't think so, but okay. Suppo, you have a lot of coins. Let's say you only have 30k to invest. Would you divide it all over these coins? No, I wouldn't. I'd probably pick 10 coins, like you say. I can afford to be so diversified, but it helps you, because I'm not, you know, if the scenario was that you guys were like, oh, I want to basically replicate Suppoman, that would be, I wouldn't recommend that. Because, you know, these are my personal choices, what I like. But in me talking about all of these various coins, you can pick out what you like, and you can be like, right, okay, so I've only got 10,000, so I'm going to pick, you know, 5 or 10, and the ones that I really like the sound of. So, I mean, if I was in the position that I had 10,000, I'd probably put 2.5 into NIR, 2.5 into Elrond, 2.5 into Solana, and hedge it with maybe, take your pick with one of these, basically. That's what I would do. Yeah. Anyway. So what do you think about Wilder World and Network? Not a lot, to be honest. Wilder World I kind of like, because isn't that meant to be like 5D or something like that? So, but it's risky. It's risky, but it'll probably pay off in the end, I would say. Do you think, from Nika Man 28, do you think Bitcoin will hit anything around close to 22 to 25k and then dump to lower lows? Yeah, I think there's a likelihood of that. That could happen. You know, October is generally called Uptober, so it could be the case that it gets it leads to a bullish month until we have the next rate hike or whatever. Would you add Zilliqa? I wouldn't personally, but I could see why you would, because of the computer thing or the console. It's pretty exciting. Well, you really have that much to invest? Well, I got more to invest, but I'm going to leave some for the bull market. Buddy Holidays, pick 2 coins from the top 10 that will not... What? Oh, from the top 10 that will not survive more than one cycle. I think that most of the coins in the top 10 will survive. Because that's kind of... Being a top 10 means that you've got the visibility to survive. I don't think a single one of these is going to die. Yeah, I don't think a single one of these is going to die. If you said which is the most likely to die of the top 10, I would probably say either Tether or USDC. That's about it. Bitcoin, that will last over a cycle. Ethereum will last over a cycle. BNB easily will last over a cycle. XRP always will always last. BUSD will definitely be there for a long time. Cardano will be. Solana will be. Doge will be. Doge does really well in a bull market. So, yeah, I don't see any of these failing. None of these will die. The only one I think that deserves to die, that's quite close to the top 10, is Tron. Why that's still around, I kind of have no idea. It's a pile of shit. But anyway, yeah, I think that being a de-risked cryptocurrency means that you're kind of not likely to die. So every time you mention Marlin, my buy finger itches. Oh, that's cool. That's some Q6 God 81. Let me throw a bucket of ice cold water over you then, and let's have a look and see. Let's have a look and see Marlin's, how much they're tweeting. Thank you very much, Silver Bells, for the 100 gems. I really appreciate the gems. Love gems. Yeah, look, I mean, their marketing is shit. Look, they did 3 tweets in one day, and the last one they did was August 27th. The last one before that was August 17th. So they give the impression of not being very active. So yeah, so I kind of think that dilutes the excitement. As for how it's performing as a coin, well, it's 10-to-1 ratio. It's not that bad. But it's also not great. So there's no real reason to be too excited at this point. What's a good buy price for XLR? I'd have to look into it. I can't really say at this point. All I will say is it's just come out, so it's going to be kind of like the most exciting time. I haven't really done a lot of fundamental analysis on XLR, so I can't really say a lot. Like, I've done a lot of analysis into Sui and Aptos. I think they're very good. But XLR, I don't really know at this point. Yeah, I don't really know. Like, it's pretty much kind of the same thing. I understand, other than its backers, what makes it a good project fundamentally. But I would wait for this to... Fully diluted market cap. I don't know how much they've got circulating at this point. So it's difficult to say. But that's a very high fully diluted market cap. So I think I just need better metrics. Let me have a look at CoinGecko, see if they've got anything on there. XLR. No. And they've got 1 million. So it's difficult to actually see what the real figure is at this point. So I think it's going to be a really good time to just wait for it to crash. And I would say, let me have a look. What was the... I can't remember what the IDO price was. Huh? IDO price was $1? Are you being silly? Where's crypto rank? This is the one that's normally more... Holy shit! What the fuck? Is this a fucking joke? What the fuck is this? Is that even serious? Can't really tell. But anyway, $1, $1. The private was 21 cents. And the seed was 2.8. So if we have a look, 65. So this is now 35% or 35% under the seed, the public sale price. Fucking hell, that's amazing. So I would say definitely the private price is most likely is very much on the cards. That I think you could probably get into. I wouldn't rule out that they'll have some pumps in the meantime, as people are like, oh, Axelar, there may be an altcoin season next month. But I don't think the seed price will be achieved. But I think that something in between. So I think probably about 15 cents maybe. Because it's new and not tested. And it's all speculative at the moment. So we'll have to wait and see. It probably came out literally the worst time for them as a project. Sizzler, let me get rid of... I don't know if this is even real, but I don't like that at all. Nia, 2,500 Mana, 2,500 Solana, 2,500 Elron, 3,000. Can these investments probably make me a millionaire? Collectively, it could. That's what? 10,500. They have a median of about 100x, I would say. Though you've got some good ones there. Near Solana could do a very unrisky. Yeah, they could. They could make you a millionaire. Yes, they could. Because you're investing a relatively high portion. Okay, I'm going to move on to some more coins. Crew your coins, right? I've only gone through 4. What the fuck? So I'm going to go through another. I'm going to go through another few. So here we go. Here's the one that probably everybody is waiting for. So, Suppoman, you say you were going all in on Moonbeam. So why is Moonbeam 1 of 30? All right. So Moonbeam. How much am I putting into Moonbeam? Let me ask you guys. How much do you think I'm putting into Moonbeam? This will probably be an anticlimax now. Thoughts on Exceed Me? Shit. Thoughts on Veracity? It's got a quite cult following. Godlike Michael, 10k. Vic, 1000x, 100k. Deja Vu, 25k. Tesla shit. 20,000, 30,000, $1. 50k from I001, 30, 30, 50, 20, 250. Floriana, good to see you. 20, 500k from Buddy Holidays. Fucking way. 50k, 50k, 30k. 100, 120, 45. God, bloody hell. I would say in the main, you guys are, on average, I would say the average of all of your guesses is about right. So Moonbeam is 50,000, which is mega. Only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is more than that, and these are the less risky. So I know they will make me a return on investment. So 50k is giant in my opinion. Now, Moonbeam, I would definitely put 50k if this goes down to 12 cents. Now you're probably saying, Suppoman, 12 cents. What the hell? So my personal opinion is that most altcoins are going to go down 2/3 from where they're at now. So if we have a look and see where Moonbeam is at right now, it's at 44. So 2/3 would be 15 cents. Now, given that every month there is more Moonbeam unlocked and given out to private investors, I'd say the chances of dilution are higher. And therefore, 12 cents could be likely, which would be half the take flight price, and therefore I suppose the private price. So that would be a mega buy, in my opinion, a mega pint. That would be 416,000 Moonbeam tokens, which if it went to $20, would be 8.3 million. 8.3 million. What was that, Floriana? Good to see you. Thank you very much, Floriana. I appreciate that. So yes, so 50k at that price is the equivalent of spending 100k at Take Flight. All right. So people who would have spent 100k at 25 cents, if that was even possible, probably for a private investor. This had a lot of good VC entities getting into it. So you wait for it to get a half, and then you only have to invest half the amount of money to essentially have 100k at Take Flight price. So this would be 50k. So that would be a mega, that would be quite a mega investment in my opinion. Now, Moonbeam, I would probably, assuming that Bitcoin went to about 200k, I would probably sell my Moonbeam at that point, no matter what the price, and then wait for the next bear market, and then I would re-enter into Moonbeam. But I would have hoped at that point that I would make nearly 10 million off one investment alone, which would be pretty sizable, I would say. Yeah, that'd be pretty good. So yeah, I mean, I don't really need to say much about Moonbeam. Moonbeam is the most exciting cryptocurrency that's come out of Polkadot. I don't think there's anything even close. There's nothing close. There were so many Polkadot projects came out last year, like Kylin and Umbrella and those shit coins that came out of ended up being shit coins. Like you get in on them via Polkastar, they ended up being really crap. But Moonbeam, I'm pretty confident, is the best project that's come out of Polkadot. It's basically the bridge between Polkadot and Ethereum. You know, so for anybody creating dApps, Moonbeam's the bridge. It's the layer one, right? You're utilizing Polkadot's capabilities via Moonbeam. So Moonbeam is really the better project than even Polkadot. But Polkadot probably has, you know, the VCs and the awareness and the visibility. But Moonbeam to me is the better project. And Moonbeam is probably the best project as far as satisfying everything I would go for in an investment. It's got a fantastic name, great fundamentals, VCs are top notch, team are top notch. So it is pretty much everything I would go for. There's only one drawback of Moonbeam, and that is that it's infinitely inflationary. It's infinitely 5%. But it is also got the potential, because Moonbeam is a gas token, and because you burn Moonbeam when doing transactions, I think it's an 80% of Moonbeam is burnt in that transaction. So it has the potential to, although it's infinitely inflationary, once there's utility, usage, dApps, ecosystem, a bull market, it will counteract the inflation and make it a little bit more like Elrond. Because Elrond Elrond has a fixed supply, but it's a gas token. And because it's a gas token, it will probably never reach its max supply anyway. And same for Moonbeam. You know, so there's so much potential for Moonbeam, and people talk about it. It's well known. As a result of that, I think that Moonbeam has just enormous potential. And particularly in the whole Web3 space, it has the potential to really bring a lot of blockchains together to serve these dApps and serve users. So Moonbeam, don't really have much more to say on it. You've seen my all-in review. It's an exceptional cryptocurrency to me. Next up, we have got Velas. Now, Velas, I'm not as excited by, but I think has got really good potential. Okay, so, you know, Velas has gotten to, I think, about 70 cents. And it's not even really begun its ecosystem. You know, I think, you know, Velaspad brought out about 5 projects or something. Like, it's not really even started. Now, Velas are looking to be aggressive. They've contacted me. They've contacted other YouTubers. I know they're being very aggressive. They want to get the name out there. They want people to know that they are looking to be a player in NFTs and DeFi and DAOs and just general dApps. So I know they're going to be aggressive. Obviously, they've paid a lot of money to get their name on the Ferrari of Formula 1. So I think that this bodes well. as a potential, next Cadena, basically. So Velas mimics Solana in its transactions per second, but they haven't had downtime. But Velas is a much more risky project. Okay, so it could do very well. All right, so none of these are intended to be financial advice. Don't look at it and say, oh, it's definitely going to do a 94x. I'm definitely going to get into Velas. It may not do a 94x. But I think its trajectory could be very high. And I have no position in Velas. And so I would be getting a fresh position, $10,000. That would give me 625,000 Velas. So giving me the ability to make nearly $1 million from that 10,000. So yeah, so like I said, Velas, high performance blockchain, but it's not groomed. It doesn't have really any VCs. And without having VCs, you don't have the connections. You don't get on really good exchanges. So they have to work harder. But it can be done. Then, next one is Moon River. Now, Moon River, as opposed to Moonbeam, so Moonbeam I'm putting 50k into it. Moon River I'm putting 10k. All right, so if it goes down to $3, which I think has a very strong likelihood, without the adoption, without any actual burning really happening of Moon River, the inflation has more of an effect on the price than the token burn, because it's got the same mechanics as Moonbeam. But I think it's got real potential to go down to $3. Another reason why is because it's related to Kusama. If we have a look at where Kusama is, so Polkadot is a top 10 coin. So being the layer 1 of Polkadot, you've got Gravitas, you've got Kudos. Being the layer 1 of Kusama, it's just inside the top 100. So it doesn't have the prestige. But Moon River is a bit older than Moonbeam. There's probably more wallets on Moon River than there is on Moonbeam. So, and Moon River is really the test net version of Moonbeam. It's kind of like the let's try our experiments on Moon River, and if it does well, we'll implement it on Moonbeam. So Moon River I don't even think is that respected. But I think it's a good bet. It could do well. I don't think it's going to go near its all-time high. Because Moon River achieved that all-time high based on a more fixed supply back then. A lower supply, a lower circulating supply. It didn't have... Moonbeam wasn't out. There was the Kusama trend going on at that time, and it all just contributed to a perfect storm. I think 200 is more likely for Moon River, which would be a 67x from $3. I mean, don't sniff at it. It's good. It's got good potential, but it's higher risk. It probably isn't going to make the same trajectory as Moonbeam, so I'm putting less money into it. But I like it, and unlike Moonbeam, which has got unlocks for a while, from what I understand, Moon River has not. It doesn't have any more unlocks. They're fully vested now. So UFO, to correct UFO. So UFO is a 63x, 62.5 rounded up. So there was another less of a 0, I think there was. So, so therefore the gains is not quite 630. But UFO gaming is very similar to Gala. It's like the small cap version of Gala. It's like got less VCs, less hype, less speculation, less demand, but it's still exciting and has potential. It could do much better than this 63x that I've got pinned down for it. I think I'm going to bring my buy-in price a little bit lower, because what I've got baked into it right now is half of its current price. And most of these altcoins are a third. They're like a third of where they are now. And this is half. So I'm probably going to bring this down. But I'm going to start buying it at 0.8 because I've wanted to own UFO for the longest time. So I probably will start to buy some and probably just dollar cost average it down. So it'll probably end up being 0.6 maybe as where the lion's share of my buy-in is. And that would make it, well, let's have a look. I make 83x. So I'm going to put 15,000 into it because I like the gaming aspect and I think it could do well over time. Yeah, I just like UFO and I think it's very bullish when money returns into cryptocurrency. Like UFO outperforms most crypto games. So yeah, so that's in it. Then we got Start Atlas. So Start Atlas, I've already got a position in. So I'm only going to put 2,500 to bring my overall cost price down. Yeah, this brings it to round about where I bought in at. So I guess it's just adding a bit more exposure because this could have a 200x. Because this is Solana's, this is like the crypto apes for, or the crypto apes, which is basically mixed crypto punks and bored apes. It's basically crypto punks of Start Atlas, like it's the original game project for Solana, and it did extremely well. And they're building right now, and I think this is looked at as the game of Solana. Like there's other ones like Monkey Ball and all that, but I think Start Atlas is the one that's seen as the primary game of the Solana ecosystem, and therefore it has the biggest gains potential, I think. So anyway, so I've already got a position in Start Atlas, but I'm probably going to add to it because I wasn't able to put a lot because I went in through paid network. So I was only able to put like 1,000, I think, into it. And that got spread between Start Atlas and Polis. So I'm just going to put in Start Atlas 2,500. And that could, that 2,500 could net 500,000, but it's a high risk. That's why I'm putting in, so little. Marlin, I'm going to skip these three for now and talk about them another time. But in the meantime, I'm going to talk about a couple more. But before I do that, let me address you guys. I was going to say you lot, but that sounded a bit informal and maybe a bit dismissive. And I don't like to be dismissive. I would swap one on this list for Ocean. Yeah, and I'm actually dollar cost averaging into Ocean. So the thing is that there's not much on here. I mean, Ocean... Let's have a look and see the market cap of Ocean. 98. No, hold on. Ocean would be about here, I would say. Let me just have a look at Velas. Yeah, so it's just underneath Velas. Now, Ocean I like. Ocean's great for a diversified portfolio. So a lot of these you'll know are either layer 1s or layer 2s. But Ocean is a data infrastructure. It's a data play, I suppose. So it's kind of like Google. I guess it's kind of like Google in the sense that it would be like a data. It's like the money is in the data, I suppose. So the more partnerships they kind of create, the more entities they work with to sort their data. Because what Ocean do is essentially it organizes the world's data using AI. So it's a great project, quite sophisticated, but also singular narrative. I would probably go with Moonriver, Velas than Ocean, but I am actually dollar cost averaging into Ocean, but probably not a lot. Super123, Superman you legend, glad to see you, first time chat. Cryptosphere, you can buy Glimmer on Qcoin. Buddy Holidays, if Velas performs like Ferrari, ouch. Yeah, good point. Degen Trader, what's up, bro? Good to see you. Boomers love e-gold. If your target buy-in prices don't reach, would you just invest less money into the project, or would you just not invest? No, I'd invest in some of these. I would probably just not be as big into them, because a lot of these buy-in prices they're two things to me. These optimal buy-in prices are not just where I think the price is going to go to based on the momentum I foresee for for prices in the future with this dwindling economy, but they also represent a good place to make fantastic gains. So I foresee a ceiling for certain assets, and where I want to do is I want to kind of get as close to where I see a floor as possible. And so that's why I've kind of earmarked these prices. If they don't hit, then on the way down, they'll get close and I will do some minimal buy-ins. And depending on the momentum of the market. So really the things that will turn this around is we've had the recession already announced, and really it's a case of recovery from that point. It's like it'll be a month-on-month thing. So we'll probably hit a bottom as a result of entering into a recession, a global recession. And that is where I think the bottom's going to come in. That will be the worst point, I think. And then from there, it will be like a gradual recovery from that point. And I think that most of these will hit during that period. But I think that we'll be in a bottoming period for a while. And we'll kind of know, based on the news happening around that time, as to is this really like to be the lowest? And I think I'll know in my heart, you know, there's like unlikely to be any more momentum to take us down. I mean, there could be a black swan event, monkeypox outbreak, COVID-3, who knows? But ultimately, I think I'll have an idea of hitting a bottom. So I will make a decision based on then. But I think that these represent A, the momentum of where I see prices going, and B, what will give me the best return on investment versus investing in a bull market coin, investing during a bull market. So yeah, so there we are. So I hope that adequately answers the question. Answer my question! The question, jerk! How about Multivac? Don't care for it. Lindsay in the house, good to see you! What about other Star Atlas? There's a governance token, so I can give really a rat's about that. So where do you buy all your cryptos? I mean, Binance mainly, but if I can't get it on Binance, then I'll get it probably on a decentralized exchange or Gate or something. But then I'll take it immediately off because I don't really trust Gate and all that lot. I probably will post this on YouTube at some point, but I don't want people to think, oh, he's just going to post it on YouTube, so I won't bother watching on Twitch. So I might just put a portion of it on YouTube. Velas expansion plans boosted by Gem Digital's 35 million. Let me have a look at that. Nice. See, this is what I'm telling you about. You can see the makings that they're looking to develop, and deliver returns on investment by their marketing activity so far. So it's not a surprise to see this. That's partners with Gem Digital to make blockchain tech accessible, raised 138 million. Gem is a digital asset investment firm. Invest in utility tokens, yada, yada, yada. So Fairhad, co-founder of Velas, this financing facility will boost our ability to introduce innovative technologies and solutions to global marketplace, tackling new markets and sectors. Yeah. I mean, I know for a fact that they're looking to enter into NFTs, DeFi, and gaming. So, this will undoubtedly give them that ability. So yeah, so that's the good thing about risky plays like this, is that you have to kind of look into what are they doing so far. So you have to look at this you have to look at cryptocurrencies like a YouTuber. All right, you have to look at the momentum of what they're doing. So with Velas, you have to look at Velas like a YouTuber that's got 30,000 subscribers, right? Are they making content every day? If they are, that means they're doing everything they can that when the bull market comes back, the views are just going to return. The views are going to be like money flow. And they're going to get tons and tons of views because they've done all the hard work during a bear market. And that is what you need to look out for when you're looking to invest in risky coins, is what are they doing to maintain a level of awareness, marketing, and fundamental value? Are they building? And if they're doing nothing, then you've got to kind of make a call and think, okay, well, if they're doing nothing now, then what's attractive about them during a bull market? So that's what you've got to think of. And Velas are obviously doing a lot of work in the background. So they are doing what a YouTuber that is at 30,000 now, and they want to get to half a million. If they want to get to 500,000, they got to work their ass off, and they've got to build, and they've got to make content all the time. That's what Velas are doing, basically. They're adding fundamental value by constantly building and tackling new areas and marketing and making sure the messaging gets out there. So that's the call you have to make. And how much are you hearing about Ocean? If you were comparing the two, kind of similar market caps, where's your money likely to go higher? It's really the question. So thank you very much, GenieUGG. Great interjection there. Thanks for all you do from CryptoSphere12. Thank you very much. What do you think of Anchor with its growth in RPCs and Binance investment? I don't know. I haven't really looked into it. I thought Anchor was pretty cool anyway, because it's kind of like taking the hassle out of nodes and master nodes. But it's really good during DeFi, but it's not really an infrastructure. What's your thoughts on Biconomy from Love for Biconomy? Yeah, I like it. It's attractive. It could be a good risky bet, I think. Stream YouTube and Twitch live simultaneously. Yeah, but then nobody will bother coming to watch YouTube. It's Twitch then, will they? They'll just come on YouTube because, nah. There are two Aleph. Yeah, there's like Aleph IM and Aleph 0. Congrats on the Twitch success, Suppo. For 6K views of your streams as a startup is impressive. I agree. Yeah, it is very good, isn't it? Like, even 216 viewers, like right now. Like, I was watching Joe Parry's the other day doing a live stream, and he had about 220 viewers. So he's got 300,000 subscribers. So I thought that was, pretty good going. So, but I thank you guys for coming along. So I'm going to just talk about, Illuvium. All right, so let's talk about this one. Actually, no, let's talk about Saito. Okay, let's talk about Saito. So, Saito, I've already got a position in. So I'm only going to be adding a little bit more onto it. So I got Saito about 0.004. So I'm going to be just bringing it down a bit. I'm going to be bringing my dollar cost average price down. And I think it could go down to 0.2 because I think it's just invisible. And I think as shit hits the fan, people will sell. It's going to be very likely natural losses in the value. So I will look to buy.
Would you like
20,000? Thank you, Lindsay. Would you like to? Interesting to hear it being said by a monotonous voice. Would you like to? That sounds a bit like Joe Parry's, actually. Anyway, so that would be 2 million, is that it? Okay, so 2 million Saito, and I think people say, oh, this could go up to $1. I think you've got to learn to walk before you can fly. The thing is with Saito, right? Because I've done research into Sui and Aptos, which are essentially the same cryptocurrency, right? They're pretty much identical. They're both started out by Meta / Facebook alumni. They're both high performance blockchains. They're both utilizing Rust, which is what Saito does. So as like a programming language. So Saito is almost like Aptos under a different skin. The difference is, and this is where I have a problem, because I know David Lancashire follows me, but I don't think he listens to what I say. I think that with the difference between Saito and Aptos and Sui are gargantuan. The difference is huge, right? Even though they're roughly the same asset. The difference is marketing. The difference is the difference between the two is like night and day. Saito do not market well, all right? And I'm just going to be honest about it. Like, they do not dumb it down for the person that doesn't care about, how they, how the nodes achieve, reward, etc. The Infura problem, etc. Didn't give a shit about that. That comes into the fundamental analysis, But in terms of the headline, what makes people buy, what makes people speculate, what makes people excited, Saito don't have that. You know, the design of the website is red or orange. Okay, if I'm honest with you, it doesn't quite have, you know, the attractive aesthetic factor, and that's important. They've got a good name. I like Saito. It's short. It's sharp. It sounds a lot like Taito, which was a big development company for games back in the 80s and 90s. I like the name, and it sounds good. It sounds Japanese. Sounds good. So it's got that, and it looks like they've got the makings of something amazing, but they don't do enough on the marketing. So aesthetically, not good enough. Headline metrics, not good enough. You know, Aptos and Sui, they're both 130 to 200,000 transactions per second. Aptos is like 0.7 seconds finality time, block finality time. They're looking to penetrate NFTs, address the scalability problem of Ethereum, address the reliability problem of Solana, address the fee problem of Avalanche, and yet you don't really know what Saito does. You don't know the transaction per second. You don't know block finality time. You don't know what are they looking to penetrate. Where are they looking to go? Don't really know all of this stuff. You know, they don't have the headlines. They don't have the, you know, they don't have it written out by by people that write the articles, the big entities, the journalists that write the articles about cryptos. Saito just don't utilize them. And the only people that talk about Saito are basically, you know, shit YouTubers that have like 1,000 subscribers nobody listens to anyway. So they aren't aggressive enough. So if Saito even got a little bit more like Velas, so Velas are quite aggressive with their marketing. You know, if Saito got a bit more like that, that would make the difference. If I ran Saito from a marketing perspective, so David Lancashire can be the Steve Wozniak of Saito, and I can be the Steve Jobs of Saito, then essentially Saito would be packaged in a different way, it'd look different, it'd be exciting, people would invest in it. But people don't bother, and so people don't talk about it, and so it gets pretty much alienated. So that's why I think it's going to lead to the dramatic slowdown in price. But I'm hopeful that Saito, by investing in this early, you know, and at a very low price, that Saito will do something a bit more forthright, a bit more strong, a bit more crypto-esque, and be able to turn and deliver on that and make 100x. But they do need some fundamental changes in the way they market. You know, there are three things that really make a crypto do well. All right, there's three things that make speculative value of crypto skyrocket. One is tokenomics. So, you know, moderately inflationary stroke deflationary, that equals skyrocketing. Use case. So, what do they have an ecosystem in currently? What are they looking to penetrate? You know, those are very important, because by highlighting it, you attract partners in it. More people use Saito. There's greater adoption. There's greater network effect. Right? So that equals speculation. And then the last one is hype and messaging, right? And you need to have hype and messaging in tandem with the other two. In fact, hype and messaging is 50%, and then tokenomics and actual use case is the other 50%. But hype and messaging is what gets people speculating without even really knowing much about what it does and not having to know much. They just want to plant their money. That's what crypto is. You know, when people are investing in Shiba Inu, do you think they care about the Shibarium or Shiboshis or anything in the Shiba Inu ecosystem? They don't give a stuff about that. What they care about is they get it. It's like, oh, Shiba Inu, I understand that. It's a dog. I'll invest in it. I get that on a very, very high level. Like, I don't need to know too much about it. But with Saito, you need to make it investable on a high level. And the way to do that is essentially is basically messaging and marketing. And you need to get those headlines out there so people know what they're investing in. You know, people know the transactions per second, the block finality, the comparisons with Solana, Avalanche, Phantom, Cadena, everything else. That's what Telos are doing. But I just don't see it from Saito. So Saito, to me, is kind of like Sui and Aptos in just a different skin, but just going about it the wrong way. Like, they're trying to build the fundamentals, but you need the kind of shop front, and that's what they're missing. So I hope that they listen. And I've got the same kind of view of Stratos as well. So Stratos, I think, need to work on their branding. And they need to, I mean, their marketing is not that bad, actually, but I think that they're good at contacting people and getting people to talk about them. But what I think they lack is that headline, those headlines. What are you? I think that most people kind of think that they are a decentralized YouTube. That the next YouTube is going to be basically on Stratos. And that's part of what they do. But there's so much more. But you don't really know because they don't really communicate it. And they're soon to be coming out with mainnet. They need to build more, I think. They need to get more on the messaging side of things. That's what I think is important, But otherwise, Stratos is I think a super system, a superstructure. They're layer 0 technology for any business, wanting to be a decentralized YouTube or a decentralized anything, any DApp, wanting to, maybe a media DApp of some sort. Stratos is really the ecosystem for them, or the technology for them. And they're very much in the early stages. But again, it's just about that branding. It's just about that excitement. Let's... if we have a look at... Let's see, Solana. No, let's have a look at Velas, okay? Because Velas is roughly in that area. Yeah, low cap, micro cap kind of thing. Okay. It's probably the worst thing to happen on their site is like having that meter. It should just load straight up. So it looks pretty good. I like it. It looks good. Big writing. Very, straight away what they do. Fastest EVM chain. So Ethereum virtual machine compatible. So it's a layer 1. And you can build dApps. And fork of Solana. You get it all. That shop front. And it's good colours. Green, blue, multi-colours. I love it. Now let's look at Saito. Let's just do a kind of critical analysis. Like, this is what you get when you go to Saito initially. Not good. Okay? As somebody like me who saw the old website would probably think, oh yeah, okay, new website, I'll go to it. But but this is what they should see firsthand. Like on CoinMarketCap, it should just go straight to Sol. They've got 2 here. Like, why have 2? Just go straight to this. Now, I do like this graphic. But it's like, what's different? Where's the headlines? Where's the metrics? What can you achieve? Why use you? Kind of thing. Like, as an investor, what gets me excited? Layer 1 blockchain, okay, we know it's an infrastructure. They do well in bull markets. But what else? Building open and scalable web applications, that's what every layer 1 does. What's the difference? Where do you differentiate? What are your metrics? This will allow me to see where you differentiate. Nothing there. Web3 possible, no strings attached. Most people that don't know about, the fundamentals won't care about that. And that's where it kind of ends. Now, if we have a look at Stratos as well, and also they got .tech, I'd say go for a .com. I don't know what Stratos is. Is it Stratos.io? Let me have all right, go! The Stratos.org. I mean, starting off, that does not sound good. It should just be Stratos. Stratos. Not the Stratos. Because if you are searching for them via, Google, really, they take the first word that comes up after www. So if you're Stratos, then you'll get indexed better. The Stratos is not that good. That's why Facebook started out as the Facebook and just became Facebook. Because it was just better for branding. Next generation decentralized data mesh. So this is the same website it has been for over, probably since it came out. And the green, it is kind of on brand, because that's what they've always marketed themselves as. But at the same time, it's not very sexy. It's not very sexy. Versus something like Cadena, much sexier. Much sexier. Yeah. Yeah. So the aesthetics matter a lot. But that's not to say that they're bad. It just means they could do better. Oh, right. Well, hold on. The Stratos something or other. Don't know what that was. So they're high risk, but they're not really high risk. Like, if all they have to do is just do that bit right. And they'll appeal to more people. I'll do one more. Which one should I do, people? You answer for me. Which one should I do? I believe you said USDC and USDT will likely be gone by next bull market. What stablecoin would you recommend to stick with? I think that they're going to get slightly crushed by regulation. And I think that there will be a strategy to make the CBDC, the US, the digital US dollar, attractive. So that means basically penalizing USDC and USDT, which come under American jurisdiction. Whereas BUSD is China, really. And it comes under Binance Smart Chain. So they won't have US soil, really, as part of, as being able to control. So BUSD is the one I like. Are there any crowd loads you're looking to get involved with? No. Not at all. Saito was recommended by Token Metrics. Really? Interesting. No, that is interesting, actually. I need to look for it. FOMO Ali, Boyakasha. Boyakasha. Check this. A0. A0, Hex, Alluvium, A0. Alluvium, A0, Hex for sure, Alluvium. Oh, wow. So basically, Hex, Alluvium, and Aleph0 are mainly Hex, Alluvium, A0. Jesus. I'd say it's equal. Equal. Can you show us your live positions at the moment? What do you mean? Like what I'm invested in at the moment? Like I don't. If you mean like what's it called? Leverage. I don't do that. It's so equal. I would say probably Alluvium and LF0 are the ones winning. Okay, so let me do LF0 then, I think. Let me just check one more time. What's the next one? Alluvium do Marlin, HNT leaving the building. They'll come back. Rocket will crash. Aleph, right, okay. Aleph, right, okay. So LF0 is touted as the next potential, like Solana, basically. A high transaction blockchain that is essentially addressing... Yeah, so they're high transaction blockchain that are addressing the blockchain trilemma of decentralization, scalability, and security, right? There is really not any blockchain at the moment that is all three at once. And LF0 are looking to achieve that on a fundamental level. LF0 is very, very promising as far as one of the up-and-coming infrastructures, like a lot of people are talking about LF0. I'm seeing it coming up, cropping up more and more. You know, the mutterings about it, even though it's been out now a few months, quite a few months, I think about 6 months, people are really thinking this could be like the next Solana. And I think just on the trajectory to being that cryptocurrency that achieves the blockchain trilemma of achieving it all, it's going to move up the ranks. Basically, LF0 has nothing in terms of ecosystem. They're very, very new. They are kind of building volume and money flow right now. So they are quite a high market cap, And I'm looking for them to come down a lot. So they have essentially been a stable coin for a while. They've been about at $1 or thereabouts. I think the highest they got to was $1.60, and it's kind of had a base level at $1, which says to me that people aren't really buying it, but the people that are hodling it are keeping it. They are not selling it. So the price has not really gone below $1. And that bodes well, I think, for the future. So I think that if this does crack through and loses almost 3/4 of its value, which I think it could because it's so new, and people will probably be looking to dollar cost averaging into like a Bitcoin and Ethereum and make cash out their LF0, it could lose a lot of value in that time. Plus LF0, again, like most new cryptocurrencies, has its highest inflation in the first year. So I think it's going to get diluted in tandem with being a new project and people potentially selling it off for some slightly more mature, de-risked cryptocurrencies. In which case, I think there is high potential for it to come to this price, in which case I would spend about 20k if it gets down to this price. I think that's still nowhere near kind of private sale area. And I had a chance to get into private sale, but I didn't take them up on their offer because I didn't have the time to do the research, I guess. So I will be looking to get into it. I guess second chance cafe at 25 cents. Yeah. And from that point, I think it's got great gains potential, because if it's held $1 throughout this whole bearish period, despite being new, then I think it's got good appreciation, when it does do well. It's essentially like me, right? So, I mean, obviously I'm not a new YouTuber, but during the course of this bear market, like my subscribers have gone up like 2,000 subscribers on YouTube. Even though I've done a lot of videos, my subscribers has hardly gone up. So the work is being done and the views are staying consistent. But I think that when the bull market comes, that consistency will pay off and bang, the views will go up. And same for LF0. So I think that they've been very consistent at keeping the value at about $1. They're obviously working hard to make people not bearish on it. So therefore, when the money comes in, I can see it shooting up, doing really well. But I think with the inflation coming up, I think people will probably sell into it. I don't know. They might sell into it before they lose it. I mean, people who invested in a private sale will probably, they're making a 10x at this point, I think. So it has got the potential to go down to this. And at that price level, I think that, this is quite a strong project, and really in its early stages. So I would take a big risk with this. Like, this to me it's not a small amount. I could buy pretty decent something. I could buy something of value with 20k. So it is quite a high risk going into it, but I do think this could pay off. This could do really well on its trajectory up to trying to be a strong mid-cap cryptocurrency, if not a potential large cap of the future. And it doesn't even have to go up that high to achieve that. So that 20,000 could turn into 1.2 million. I think it could even go higher than that. All right, it could even go higher than that. They don't have much in the way of good VCs, but that could come later, to be honest. Like Sui and Aptos, they've got the creme de la creme. They've got FTX, Binance, Coinbase, Andreessen Horowitz, Circle, and LF0 have got I don't think they have any of those from a VC standpoint. So if they did, I mean, this would be worth more than it is now, I suppose. So, so I think that's what's missing from it. But otherwise, vision-wise, I think it's pretty strong. So that I think is quite a big risk. Right, I think that will be it for now. I need to bring you back for more. So I'll answer a few more questions, I think. What do you just returned in? What about all the exchange CEOs resigning? I know that the guy from Kraken resigned, didn't he? But that's about the only. Let me see if there's any more. CEO of Exodus. Oh yeah, obviously CEO of Celsius. FTX US. Interesting. I'm not really quite sure why. I don't know. I mean, obviously it's been a bad time, but maybe they're just Silver Bells just gave out a community sub. Thank you very much, Silver Bells. Legend. Yeah, so I think that it's probably a sign of the times. Like, they in some occasions they're probably not resigning, they're probably being sacked, but for dignity purposes, they're being allowed to resign. I think it's just a sign of probably the big salaries they pay, and they're probably just trying to streamline, maybe keep a bit lean, because you have to in a bear market. You don't know how long it's going to last. You need to make sure you've got enough funding to last, which means that the top executives that probably get huge amounts of money kind of have to pay the penalty for it. So that's what I would say it was. So yeah, but yeah, sign of the times really. Only 100x on your investments. Think you're being conservative? Yeah, I think I am being conservative. I mean, I'm operating from the point of view that we have another, kind of four-year cycle. This is all based on 4-year cycle. All right, so it's not based on like a 5-year trajectory, right? Because I think that once we come out of this shit show and quantitative easing starts on a global level, then I think that I think the gains are going to be achieved violently. So yeah, so if crypto was to follow the stock market and have, let's say, a 5-year bull market rather than just a kind of 1-year bull market, which tends to be what it is in crypto, like a year and a half bullishness, then the rest of the time is bearish. I think that if we have a long-term perspective, mega rally, then I think that these could probably be doubled, or at least the ambitious ones will definitely be achieved, like Solana, NIR. They'll definitely be achieved in one cycle if it's a mega cycle. So yeah, so I do think that that I'm being slightly conservative, but at the same time ambitious in a way. So it all depends on what kind of market scenario we get next. I was in FEG from day one. They did get hacked, changing things to their name. Fucking FEG. Fucking hate that shit. Feed every gorilla. Stupid crap. Hold on a minute. Let me get rid of some. Yeah, I'll do it later. Any thoughts about XXX could be the next Binance? It didn't come up for me. I imagine you probably said FTX. Right. Okay. Your optimal buying price would be a dream. Now it would be, yeah. But I mean, if things go really badly, then they may actually look like they were too high, and what have you. So it's all relative. It's all relative. Right now, we haven't seen recession. We haven't seen the depths of the pain. So right now, prices prices currently compared to the optimal buying prices, yeah, they look way off. But you wait till recession hits. Like, these will be decimated, and actually, some of these may be too high. Who knows? I think that Ethereum may end up being high. Yeah. You never know. And some of these altcoins, some of these really like micro caps, may end up being way too high. Who knows? We'll see. All of these things are proved by time. Super, how old are you? I'm nearly entering a 4, being in my age. Put it that way. Right. Okay. I think that is it. I think that is it for today. So thank you all for turning up, and thank you all for turning up and listening to my rationale. And I hope it's given you a lot of guidance in terms of, I didn't consider this. Or it'll give you guidance as to, I can see the logic of putting more money in this than that, and blah, 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 blah. Right? So I hope that it's given you some form of learning and education as to how you can apply it to yourself. And also, in speaking about these projects, maybe it's talking about something you hadn't seen before. But I arguably and fundamentally, this is the generationally best ever time, I think, for cryptocurrencies in terms of the gains that I think are going to come out of this period versus the lows that we're going to see as a result of basically two bear markets happening in conjunction. A crypto one, a macro one. I think we're probably going to see the easiest, less ever, getting it all wrong, lowest ever risk way of getting rich to millionaire to billionaire status in this period. But it will also come with not being faint-hearted. You know, you've got to really stick with this. So stick with the market, understand kind of what's going on. Really always try to learn, because these will better inform your investments later on. This is how I did it. You know, you don't just get to be the Suppoman, call Matic, call Solana, call ADA, all these things early because you're green and don't know anything. You kind of learn by failing and understanding, trying to understand the market, and also having an appreciation for the fact you'll never understand it to an extent. And then just try and, you know, make the best, most educated investment decisions given that whole landscape. It's fun. It's challenging. It's not easy. You know, a lot of, you know, these cryptocurrencies I hope will achieve. You never know. But it's fun to, you know, speculate on achieving all these gains and making a lot of money, because I think we're going to be entering into a period where it's the easiest, best and most effective time to make money in cryptocurrency, and preferably before regulation comes in. Anyway, people, love you all. Make sure that if you haven't already, that you have followed and subscribed on Twitch, and I will see you next time. It is lights out, all out.